at all.
We back.
We back. We in it. What's up, y'all? How
We
y'all doing?
slightly coordinate in the earth tones.
Uh,
Uh,
Hold on.
I mean, mine is in my closet. One time I will wear it. It's not cold enough now.
Hey, it is in the 50s and the 60s over here in the Pacific Northwest. So we right there. We right there.
We had that
It is
earlier.
official hoodie season.
I wish it's warm now. I got the air on right now. But welcome
Mhm.
back to She Gets It Pod and
Everything culture.
a collab. And this is episode 3, being twice as good, because that is a topic that we could touch on all levels. I'm Shan,
Mm.
and that's
And I'm
Drake.
Drake.
You know what I'm saying? Check out Everything Culture podcast. And if you haven't, stop, find the podcast, subscribe, and share the podcast because we appreciate it. Okay.
Greatly.
And we're talking about beautiful blackness on this
Mm.
episode. And with that, we have to talk about this backpack that black people carry in America. This um note that's like embedded in our minds from our parents, from our grandparents, from our aunts, from our uncles, from the teacher that feels like we're the brightest in school. That's why they keep calling on us.
Mm.
From that manager that believes in you, just wants to challenge you all the time. So they add a little bit onto what you got going on in a workplace. The way that you dress yourself as a Black American in this country, the way that you carry yourself in public, how when you're upset, you have to be mindful of how upset you are, what you look like, what energy you're giving off, your facial expressions, what you do with your hands, um, and your grades, going back to being a kid, how mindful you have to be about your grades and your clothes being ironed for the week, and looking a certain way and presenting yourself a certain way and making sure this and that. And sometimes it's a great thing to build integrity, and sometimes it's something where it just makes black people very anxious when everybody else is relaxed in a place or a school or an environment, and you're always just ready for something to be an issue. So being twice as good. So when you hear that, what are your thoughts on being twice as good? We have to be twice as good. Do you think positive things from that, Drake? Or do you think negative things? Or do you think it's just something that you're just used to hearing, that you just know and it's okay? Or do you think we need to move away from that and be fair?
So what's up, y'all? So, and thank you, Shan. That was a great prompt into this conversation. But my opinion on being twice as good, to be black, you have to be twice as good. That's what I don't like, is that you have to be twice as good to just be treated normally here in society, in American culture. And that was taught to me in the 90s and in the 2000s. It was taught to my parents in the 70s. It was taught to my grandparents in the 30s. Okay. Um, it's frustrating because I still see it to this day. And I have to still tell my nephews and my nieces and my cousins that you're gonna have to work harder to be treated. And I see it in the workplace that I'm in, in just the workplace in general. We still see it in sports
Mhm.
to and that's why I say I believe that to the point I wish we could just be quote unquote mediocre.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm not a fan of the woman in most parts, but is it Omarosa made a statement that on another white woman's talk show, this is about 10 years back, that Omarosa stated all her accomplishments. And I don't have my own talk show, but you, being a mediocre white woman, you have your own platform and talk show on daytime television.
Mhm.
And the people booed, but like the audience booed, but a lot of black people was like, yeah. We feel that. We see that. Something came out today about Simone Biles. It's not just here in America. We're talking about specifically America, but it was mentioned that she just makes stuff look difficult, but she doesn't fit the aesthetic. Simone Biles busts her butt. She's the greatest ever done it. She works hard. She practiced, and they still want to minimize her because of who she is and what she looks like. If somebody else done it, and that's the frustrating thing, and it kind of builds self-hate within ourselves for us to dismiss one another just for living our life and being quote unquote mediocre normal people when you have the absolute human American right to do so as well. That's the struggle that I have with it. I wish I can just wake up and chill. I wish I can wake up and just do my job halfway at work, but it doesn't work that way. I have to give more than my all. We work late. We do, and it's stressful. And it's stressful. But I don't want. But when something I don't do personally, and I've learned to stop doing that, is putting that pressure on everyone else. Now, when I have children, and my nephew, I tell my nephews and nieces, yeah, that's what you want to do to get where we're at, but you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it. Because once again, but if you want these certain things, unfortunately, yeah, you still got to do that. You got to set yourself apart than other people. And you see your counterparts of other ethnicities, or basically white people, be direct, because it's not like that in only the Black community. That's why I want to be clear. It's everything culture here. Yeah. But we're talking about Black people right now. And it's been shown over history and still to this day in the 2020s that we still have to work twice as hard. We have to practice twice as hard. We have to be kind and do it with a smile on our face. And because you mentioned just walking down the street today, I talked to you earlier, Shane, right before this episode. I was not in the best of moods, okay? And I had to be mindful. It's always like in the back of your head, you're still a Black person. Not only I'm a Black man, I'm a muscular Black man, I'm a bald and bearded Black man. Things that people may find attractive to them, other people may find as a danger.
Aggressive. He looked
when I'm upset, I'm automatically a threat.
Yeah.
That's the scary thing about it. So it's not only that I have to work hard, I have to train hard, but I'll have to be cautious and walk on eggshells as well. And being here in Seattle, some Black people feel different than that. I'm from Texas. I know the process that people may look at you and the dangers that we have potentially. Right. Just for being who we are. But as far as just keeping it from being an athlete, and I'll just share a comparison. It's kind of like when you see just with dancing, or we could forget all that. Bring it back to just social media. The dances and the creativity we put into the things that we do is amazing. We make it happen. We the sauce, don't drown it. But then when we see other people on the timeline, I won't say directly, some white folks, they do like the bare minimum and they get hella traction, followers, brand deals.
And don't tag the originator.
See, I'm not even talking about, because I was going to get on that. I'm talking about for just doing average stuff. Yeah. But they would take what we've performed and created, and then they would get the credit for it. And it's frustrating. And it's been people we've spoken out about it. I remember it was a trend, and one of the people I follow still do it. She just get on TikTok and she said, "I'm just gonna do basic stuff as a Black girl." So she just she put the caption, number one, basic stuff as a Black girl, eating chips. She curl her hair, and it's not about 15, 30 seconds. And she got it from it's quite a few white women do that, and they get numbers, traction. I realize even with my own content, when I don't show what I look like, if I have the camera turned outwards,
Mhm.
Oh, my videos do a lot more numbers, a lot more. Unless I bring in the beard, I'm doing something with my beard. But other than that, just like we have to try harder in our work, our education, to run in politics, to it's across the board. And
Mhm.
I'm not. It's gotten a bit better because but we have to put it in your face. It's to the point we still have to say it. You know, even with my position right now, like I I can toot my horn a lot, and I usually don't, but I know I bust my butt. I know I have the type of value in the organization, and I'm like, pay me, because I see you have other people, and other people are very mediocre in their job, and they're in positions they shouldn't be in. But I'm just fine. I'm just
A
curious, how
lot
did they
of
get
people I
here?
work with are like that. And I'm just like, how did they get this job? You know what I'm saying? How do you handle certain accounts of importance and you don't know the legal terms of things in the account? Um,
Oh,
but
and I bring and I one thing that bothers me because it's happening when we're being called overqualified then for positions we will apply for. That is the most condescending and disrespectful thing to do to a
yes,
person of color, a
yes,
black person, to be specific. That bothers me so much. What do you mean?
yeah.
I wouldn't apply for this if I wouldn't. I digress.
It's kind of like, and I had to stop applying to jobs due to that because I was seeing a trend in response. And especially like I said, okay, well, let me apply for the same job I'm doing for the last 4.5 years.
Yeah.
And it will always come back. We went with someone more qualified or with more experience. And I had to stop because I'm just like, I'm not going to add in fluff. I'm not going to take away the fact that I have a degree to make someone to hire me feel like if we hire her, she's going to want to stay here so bad that she'll accept anything. And we don't have to worry about her wanting to get in a higher position or work somewhere else. And I don't even like when people see people as I'm only comfortable around this person if they're underneath me. And that's what it gives. It gives I'm only comfortable with this person if they know less. I'm only comfortable with around this person if they're less experienced, so I could feel more superior. And that's hard to hear after you've bust your butt to not do all the fun things that your teenage friends were doing when you were in the house doing X, Y, and Z. Maybe you were studying more, maybe you were practicing more so you can make sure you got that scholarship and your parents didn't have to come out of pocket to pay for school. And maybe the reason why you want to bust your butt for so long is because that's all you knew. Your parents weren't into you playing sports. Your parents were academics. And coming from a Caribbean household, it's academics that they're more on. They don't care about you playing soccer, especially if you're not a boy.
See, but the thing is, in a black household, it don't matter. Like in my household, it don't matter what you're doing. You're going to have to try twice as hard. You're
Yeah,
going to have to grind. Not saying, and once again, I'm not um taking away. We said in our intro episode, we're not taking away from anybody else in their culture, but
right.
in our community, if we know we have to come out and be smarter, harder, faster, stronger, and we have to still be like it's such the stress that's put on us at an early age to be successful, and it's historically known from that. And once again, let's talk about Deion Sanders.
Mm,
Okay, look what he's doing right now, and he said how he has raised his kids and the kids that he's coaching at the moment. You
mhm,
have to be better. You have to come out stronger. He pushes his kids. He
mhm,
had to push himself. And
mhm.
even he still have to push himself right now to be respected at a certain light that he's going to be better. He better than a lot of other coaches out there,
Yeah.
but he have to
They gave him
still.
for it to do that,
They
to take
still
that
giving
job.
him hell, and they're
Yeah,
waiting for him to fail,
yeah.
waiting for him to fail. And the thing is, and like and how we can hurt ourselves with that. Do you understand the type of doors he's trying to open by leading by example?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, what the discussion we're having right now got to be twice as good. He is showing everyone that how good we are truly are, that we're destined to be. And it's been noticed, it's been said before about white coaches that we can be mediocre. We just have to create this. So we have to create this system and keep them down.
Mm-hmm.
But if they come in and do better, and they showing us how better they are in this, and they put it on the national level, they're gonna have to open the doors for us.
Right, because you now made the space bigger.
You put the spotlight on it. You shine that spotlight right on it. Like, what do you got to say about it now?
Yeah.
And it's stressful because we see like, I don't know if you watch sports and stuff like that. We see it right in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
We are very direct, but we already know it. It's like police brutality.
Mm-hmm.
We know that it happens.
Right.
So the thing is, and when other people see it, it's like, duh. It's like, and it's like we're sharing that we go through this work, but how do we treat each other about it? That's why when I look at, and I'm gonna say this, and just be mindful. So one network that I hate is Zeus. I cannot stand the Zeus network. Okay, because it's messy and it's drama. It's not good for my community, in my opinion. Okay, and I'm very outspoken about it. And because I come from that, we have to work twice as hard. We have to create this image. Almost folks, I ain't gonna argue and fight with my sister, my brother in front of these white folks. Okay, we can have a disagreement, but we're gonna have to have it in front of them. Okay.
Yeah.
Someone said, and I think I tweeted something about can't stand like this, all these problems and all that. And one of my mutuals, Candace, expressed that she said, I look forward to we get to the day that we can have this dumb fun and with crazy stuff without having had that expectation to be better. And I was like, ooh, how to look at myself real quick.
Listen,
You know,
like as a child, you go in the store and you may see a child of another culture acting a fool, and without saying, your mom ain't have to tell you, you better not. Your dad didn't have to tell you. Your grandma, it's just a look, and you're just amazed. Like, oh my god, they get to do that, and they still get the candy. They get to do that, and they still get the toy.
hey, some of us, but we don't, hey, and that kind of see we kind of because we've made progress.
Yeah.
We've made progress. And that's the thing. What does progress look like for everyone?
Yeah.
Because I done seen some of us cut the fool in the stove. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it must be nice. And the thing is, it's like, and that, like, is that what we're working towards? To have that type of freedom?
Yeah.
Like that's we got to be mindful of what we're working towards as well. Is that the type of comfortability that we can do? We want that?
Mm-hmm. Like
Like,
as a mom, my kids wear uniform to go to school.
uniforms, okay.
The uniforms are not cheap.
They
Uh,
ain't. But,
and when they come home, they know like you need to take off your uniform, put it in the hamper, and just put on whatever you want to wear. That's not uniform. And I make it a point not to say your play clothes or take off your good clothes. You know what I'm saying? Because I heard that growing up with my mom and my grandma. And I look outside and there's this boy that lives in a cul-de-sac that goes to the same school as the girls, and he just on his scooter going around and around in circles with his uniform on. Just like, no, but maybe your parents, because he's biracial, they're just like, whatever. But I didn't grow up being able to play in my uniform.
see, right there, that's culture. Once again,
Yeah.
this everything culture.
Yeah.
Because in my household, African American black household, if we went, it was a certain point that we had uniform, we can play in that uniform, but
Mhm.
your good clothes was your clothes you got at home. Okay, well, I got to a certain age, you ain't supposed to have your church clothes on. That's your
Right.
best.
Your
Okay,
church socks. My brother used to
yeah.
get in
Oh,
trouble
and
for
you
church
used to
socks.
slide across that floor on your church socks and all that. We used to this between us. I used to put on my grandma. We used to, not just me, but we used to put on my grandma wigs and then get them church
No.
socks on, act like we were James Brown, like do the whole the mashed potato. Good. Y'all don't know nothing about that. Good. Maybe James Brown for Halloween. I gotta figure out if I'm gonna be something for Halloween. But anyway, I digress. Um, it's to that point that like Jordans and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Are we? Ooh, is that gonna be a conversation? We put a
Yeah,
lot of emphasis on brands,
materialism. Yeah,
with a whole lot of that on us,
we can talk
and that's
about.
why I say you can go play in them the clothes because we're getting our uniforms from Target, Walmart. You could have your blue. What is it? What are the colors? You could wear a blue or white
White,
polo,
khaki,
khaki shorts and
yellow.
pants, but you can wear whatever shoes you want to.
Yeah.
Okay. But you don't wear your good shoes at school because you can mess your good shoes up at school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really that's more of a culture breakdown of how we look at how you was raised in your household and what type of income did you have in your household too.
Mhm.
Because how like and that's another thing. I was cussed at. I was cussed out as a child. I got whoopings and things. I
Mm.
don't know if I'm gonna do the same thing with my kids. I have them, because I'm in a different way of life and different houses and things. Things are different, but
You're you're I think you and your wife are more emotionally aware of how to handle a situation other than physical. I think a lot of our parents just knew physically, let me show you better than I can tell you because you're a child. You need to be in a child's place. As a parent, for me, I feel like it's my job to educate my child for the well-being of their survival and also discipline them, but let them know why.
question: have you ever got a whooping because of a report card?
No.
Oh, I haven't either, but I've seen them happen. I was smart. Like once again, I was
I,
always that. I was
listen,
always that kid.
I was in the book of all honors kids in all through high school, so that's never a thing.
It was threatened though, because I was an A B student. Okay, I was A or B student. I like in my whole lifetime through like when I was talking about from grade school, so from like kindergarten to graduate from high school, 12th grade. I've made maybe two C's on report cards, maybe two C's, and one failing grade was a 69. And it was because I was that.
Oh, he's still feeling that.
Ooh, because it was that was more of a beef with a teacher thing. She was trying to make an example, raggedy ass woman. Um, but the point I'm making is, the education was big in my household. Once again, that you better come with it. You
Mm,
better like it was a threat.
mm.
And I thought mine was bad until I was going to school with other black kids. And one girl, she got a B and she had a whole panic attack in front of me. I'm like, girl, you got a B.
Right.
What? Look, Whitney, I cannot think of Whitney's last name, but her first name was Whitney. I'm talking about full breakdown, but Whitney's a doctor now.
Mm,
You feel me?
mhm.
And it's one of those things, how much your parents push you. And I know my parents, even though my grandparents didn't have nothing past a sixth grade education.
My grandpa only had a sixth grade education, and then he was just being a man.
Hey, but he said you better know how to read, and you better know how to read and count. That's his main thing. Know your math and know your arithmetic and know your language arts. That's the main thing because you know how to read these contracts and you know how to add this and count your money. That's the main thing he pushed us for. And I understand what they went through, what they've been through. And he had to work twice as hard. He was a black man in East Texas, starting a business around a lot of segregation, Jim Crow, you name it.
Yeah.
Even so, when he had kids and then grandkids, it was the focus of we have to be better.
Right.
And that push, even when I came along, like it meant a lot because even like now, we talk about the stress of being quote unquote better. How do we turn it off? How do we take care of ourselves?
Mhm.
And how to to continually do without breaking down, without burning out. You know, that is something we have to focus on too, because it's hard doing that when you're doing it by yourself. If
Yeah.
I'm making sense. So,
Yeah.
but then being that twice is good, like, and but still being considerate. Everybody's not going to be on that level at the same time. You know, like I was a fat kid. I didn't run twice as hard on the track field. I'll tell you that now. I'm
Right.
gonna read and I'm gonna work on my math problems and stay out after the class and all that. But when it came to running and eating better, I ain't gonna give my all on that, and I
Yeah.
recognize that. But you have some people, and that in Black culture, and especially American, it's just like some things. If you want to make it to certain levels in the workforce or in athletics, you have to be noticeably better when other
Yeah.
people don't have to like just stand out and they still get this and the pay me same. That's my thing. Pay me for the work I'm putting out.
Yeah. So on that, like I have down here like working harder, working longer than your counterparts, and then
Mm,
coming in the next day acting like we are all on the same level. We are all pulling the same weight on the team. I think small things like that and holding that in and knowing when you can leave and decompress from that before you go home and bring that energy to your family
mm,
or I think it's a major issue on how Black people decompress. Period. Do we decompress in a healthy way? Is it with healthy food? Do we drink? Do we feel like we need to smoke? How is that helping us? You know, do
get you
I
some get you some cool cool 100s. What
no,
Newport like
don't, don't
get you
say
some Hennessy. That's what
it.
that when you get off work, when you driving home, that's what we used to see those billboards. Like, hey, y'all go watch They Clone Tyrone. But that's what we used to see. Those
Yeah,
menthols that keep you cool and get you some Hennessy. Those get you addicted to these things that's gonna
yeah,
end your life earlier.
yeah. And it's just like we need a positive outlook and an outlet to be able to get that off. Um a lot of Black Americans are known for getting home and sitting in their car for an hour, you know? And I know we're not the only ones that do
Yeah.
it, but I have a lot of family members that do it. That's just a thing. Yeah, my mom is home, but she's in the car. Or, that's where they call me from to tell me about their day. And then they start their next shift, and their next shift is everybody that's in the house. And then,
Mm,
by the time they fall asleep, they might fall asleep in their work clothes and they wake up tomorrow and they do it again and they do it again. So even that can lead to health issues in us. I'm very happy with our generation because we're going to therapy, we're
mm,
exercising,
mm,
we're eating differently, even though our family refuses to change how they eat. We're taking it upon ourselves. Okay, well, my family's gonna eat like this, and no, we might not be coming this year for Thanksgiving. And this is what I'm cooking for Thanksgiving. I know your grandma will cook food and food and food on top of food and put it in the fridge. I'm not doing that. I got to tell the girls that here all the time. And Anya's like, well, it kind of makes sense because if you cook this and you cook that, then you won't have to cook when we're hungry and it'll just be in the fridge. No, I'm not doing it. And it's that pushback that sometimes is harder with a generation that's stuck doing things a certain way. Um, When
I'm
it comes
part
to
of that generation, y'all. I just want y'all to know that, like, for the people who are not able to see my face right now,
like,
I'm the generation Shannon is talking about because I look forward to my dressing. I look forward to my ham. I look forward to the cranberry sauce. I look forward to my Greenberg turkey. And I look for them leftovers for the next 3, perhaps 4 days. Okay. I am that. I am that is still part of my culture. Okay.
yeah,
And I everything Shannon, I respect everything Shannon is saying. And if Shan's kids, if y'all hear me, if y'all want to come over for
I
Thanksgiving with
cannot.
my family, y'all will love it. I
Let
promise
me
you
tell you,
would.
and I'm not against leftovers, but I'm not cooking something new when there's food in the fridge. I refuse. Eat that and then I'll cook. You know, I might season something and cook it for the next day. And just getting new habits, and honestly, when it comes to Black people in a workplace, being unrepresented in a small gathering or in a workplace, and you're always looked at to talk about Black issues because that's your culture, that in itself sometimes is like, but who told you I wanted to do it? You know? And it's kind of frustrating because sometimes people don't want to hear about Black culture from somebody that's not of that culture. But at the same time, if you're the only Black person in that workplace, you don't want to carry that every time for every meeting, every gathering.
So who should?
I feel like in order to broaden it and make it so people are comfortable having that knowledge, I feel like it's okay for someone who is not of that culture to talk about it as long as they're correctly knowledgeable about it.
Then who? So me, everything culture.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm that person. I don't like hearing from people that don't know, even if you part of.
Yeah.
What do you think I'm about to bring up, Shan?
The diversity.
Juneteenth.
Oh, okay. Okay. Juneteenth.
Oh, oh. So first of all, shout out to my current organization. They asked me to talk about Juneteenth in 2020, my first year there.
Yeah.
Like, because we were talking about just holidays and how we're going to celebrate a weekend. I said, I'm looking forward to Juneteenth. And someone like, can you tell us about Juneteenth? We don't know much about it. This is before people started really talking about it.
Right.
Oh, say less. I got a whole podcast about Juneteenth. I got this talking about it. Juneteenth is something I've been celebrating since I was a baby, since my parents was alive, since my grandparents alive. Juneteenth is part of my culture. And I explained every Black person didn't celebrate Juneteenth. Okay. But Juneteenth, it sparked up, became a national holiday again. Started having heavy flow. And I started hearing people, not only white people, Black people that don't know a damn thing about Juneteenth talk about Juneteenth.
My
And I
family can talk about that.
and I'm like, who are you talking about this holiday I've been celebrating all my life and I've been discriminated against because I celebrated? Who are you? What do you know about it? And then when I'm telling them and educating them about it, they're trying to educate people, and I'm like, you got that wrong. You got that wrong, and try to get upset, but you did. You can't just make stuff up.
Yeah.
And I tell them and a lot of people, especially up here in the Pacific Northwest, that are not very religion or church focused, I tell them like Christianity focused, like Juneteenth started in the church.
Mm-hmm.
It started in the church.
Mm-hmm.
You can't leave that out,
Right.
and they'll try to. So when we're talking about allowing people to share things, that's going back to that twice as hard. Pay me for me talking about it though. If, everything culture was created to educate people about other people's cultures from their perspective.
Yeah.
That's why I try to bring people on. Just it don't have to be me talking about it. I got somebody from New Orleans to come in and speak about New Orleans history.
Mm-hmm.
Shan, if she want to speak about Philly, if she was like, I'm not a mother. I'd rather have mothers come on and talk about being a mother.
Yeah.
So I know it's a little bit more work, but I'm gonna give you that credit. I'm gonna give you that recognition. And once I get to the point to start paying folks, I'm gonna start paying for you doing the work too. And workplaces, they need to start doing that. I'd rather know someone's getting paid that represents that culture and know and have a lived experience or learn a real learned experience about it. Preferably learn experience rather than hearing just somebody else talking about it. No matter how you look at it. That's my perspective and my suggestion.
Mhm.
Pay me
Um,
now.
I also want people to think about this, how let's say a city like New York, how a lot of kids in New York grow up more independent minded, adult minded from the way that they have to go to school. You know, you live in this side of the city. It is up to you by your parents to make sure you get up at this time, leave the apartment at this time, lock the door, have everything you need, get on the bus, take it to the train, switch to this train, get to school, and be there on time and have everything you need to come on with grades. Leave school, go to where you need to go pick up your sibling, take the train, take the bus, get home, help them with their homework, cook dinner, and I should be home by then. So a lot of kids in a city, they get their independence a bit early depending on what their parents can provide. Fast forward, you can have a wealthier family where you have a driver that's going to take you to school. You don't deal with the bus, you don't deal with the train. You get dropped
But
off, you get picked up.
you just see that's what I was going to say, but you just touched on it. It's
Yeah.
not about city. It's not about city living. I'm from the country. I'm from Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, other than taking the train, everything you said was the same thing. I'm telling you. And I
You
had to
see all
feed
of
the
those things.
chickens and the dogs outside. Okay,
Not the
hey,
dog.
straight up the chickens. I think when I was really young, we had goats and all that. But those are you have responsibilities. That comes from poverty.
Yeah.
like, and not saying like you having those responsibilities, meaning you don't have money. Because there's some people that have responsibility on kids. Now that shifting the conversation being twice as good too.
But
Because
think, okay, think about all of those things, right? And think
Mhm.
about how the expectation of how a child is supposed to be in a classroom as far as academics and attention with the child that all I had to do is wake up, get dressed, and get in the car and just be here.
I still made better grades than a lot of folks like that because it was the expectation on responsibility.
And that's what I'm saying.
Now, and that's a unique thing. Like shout out to my homeboy. Shout out. I ain't even gonna name no names. He spoiled.
Yeah.
Mama and daddy worked.
Yeah.
He got whatever he wanted.
Was his parents strict about academics?
Well, they were strict, but he still got, what's considered strict. They pushed it, but he still got everything he wanted. I was like I went without a lot, but I knew it. He would get in trouble. His mother would show up to the school. He would get whoopings and all that, but he just didn't care. He didn't have the amount of responsibilities I had though.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I was taught responsibility. Like
Yeah.
one of the questions on the making is you. What was your first sense of responsibility? I had one of my guests come on the show and tell me, I still don't know. And this man in his 50s. I like, what? What? But the unique thing is, but when I went to school, I know school was a responsibility. I knew that was something I had to handle. Like when I remember hearing this like it was 2 hours ago. Boy, you ain't got no job. Your job is to take your ass to class and get that work done.
That's how school was for my brothers in Jamaica. Like your parents paid for you to be able to do X, Y, and Z. Your job is to get up and get there and do what you're supposed to do and get back on time.
Straight up. So knowing that was understanding responsibility. And I don't it's hard to say like, but I know I had food. But some, and not every time. Let me take that back. When I was younger, been through some things. But what you listen out being from city to the country, it's some of the same things, but it's the mindset of resources.
Mm.
Because let's say if you got two parents and they both bring in income, you're going to have more resources. You have more resources, most likely you can have more options. More options, you could have, of course, more ability to make your choices to, go different
Room,
spots.
mistakes too.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I say. And mistakes, agreed, agreed. And it's so unique. Like that's what I say with my kids. Like how we live in. Hey, y'all still got to bust y'all butt.
Right.
Why that? Because you can say you say, and I'm saying it's building character.
Yeah.
It's going to help you more. My auntie used to make me empty her aquarium. Have you ever emptied an aquarium? And like,
Yeah.
I'm talking about a big joint. I ain't
Yes.
talking about like a little one. I'm talking
Yes.
about like one of them 80-pound
Yes.
joints,
The ones that you can't
And
move with half a tank in it, it's too heavy. Yeah.
yeah, you have to complete. Man, do you know how to siphon? Do you know how to siphon? I've siphoned gas and water. You know how
Oh no, that
nasty that
happened
could
to my
be?
brother, and a whole bunch of bugs then went in his mouth.
You got to be quick.
Yeah.
Drop that thing. You got to make sure nothing get in. You go right when you feel that, hear that noise. Here comes. You got to drop it out. There's
Yeah.
life lessons that you learn. Okay, like when did you learn how to? I learned. My mom used to tell me she didn't want to pay for the plumber. You get under that sink. You learn. Pay attention to that plumber.
Yeah.
If somebody come out work on a car, you go and pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Like my auntie, same way. Like all these things that I was taught to learn because it was to save money in the future and to
Mm.
make me a better man that I am today. It wasn't fun doing it, but that's a black experience, but I believe that's also a poverty experience too.
A necessity that a lot of other cultures don't see as a necessity because it should be somebody there to be able to do it. But I have a question for you. While doing my research with this topic, have you heard of black fatigue?
I have an episode about it's not black fatigue, it's racial battle fatigue to be exact.
Okay. So the way that they describe this is as living under an invisible but strong white judgment that's
Mm-hmm.
exhausting.
Yes,
So
just by being black.
yeah,
You should be in therapy, you should be in counseling, because you're just going to be strong out because of systematic oppression that's been placed above you. Yes.
yes.
Season 2, episode 7, episode 8, I think.
That man remembers. Um I think my mom, my aunts, my brothers, they know that there's a certain way you speak when you're talking to certain individuals. I remember as a child being able to know who my mom was talking to on the phone. If she picked up the phone, she's like, "Hello." I was like, she's talking to somebody to pay bills. She's talking to somebody.
You're talking about code switching. Continue, yes.
Yes. And then as soon as she hung up the phone, didn't I tell you? Da, 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 da. And I was like, yeah, like she knows.
Now she ever hit that?
No,
She never
never.
hit that. She never hit
No.
that. Oh, proper. Thank you, man. I be getting that today with my wife. I'm talking. My bad.
No, we always kind of figure who she was talking to by her tone, but even the idea of, you know, having a tone or who you're speaking to or putting on this sound if you're talking to this person, at at what level do you have to ask yourself, okay, if my child is watching me, am I helping or am I holding back something? Do I explain this to them, or when do you explain this to them? I don't have a switch when I talk to people now.
Yes, you do.
Do I don't
Yes, you
notice it.
do. Yeah, you may. Yes, you do. Like I'm gonna call Colin Cap. Yes, you do. I've seen you do it. Like I've heard you call you had the same Caleb, but you switch. You know it's your professional voice and your relaxed voice. You got several different episodes. You sound different from Cozy Womb than you do from She Gets It. You
Oh, of
do.
course.
You
Yes.
see, look, oh, of course, duh. You have it.
Because I'm talking about something different. It's a different
So
uh
see this we're stepping into a different topic right now. This is
yeah.
code switching. Code
Mm,
switching is a whole different mindset and culture. and it's the truth. And I it's a clip from Loudmouth. I love Loudmouth, by the way.
Yeah.
And they talk about like code switching, and somebody, and a lot of black people don't like code switching. I don't code switch. Shut
Yeah.
up. Code switching is for survival. It is.
Yeah.
Code switching is. I'm very good at code switching.
Hmm.
I don't always do it, and I blend in because I'm still me. You still got to be you at the end of the day.
Right.
But even the way you dress, even with your kids, how they go to school is not how they may go to the grocery store. How they may go to church may not how they go to the club. We all code switch one way or another, from our dress, from our tone to what with the word. I curse. Do I curse at every spot? No. I don't
Right.
curse around my elders. The way I talk to my elders is not the way I talk to you. You know,
Mhm.
I code switch. That is, it's for it's survival. But if I have to sit up straight, right? Once again, at my work, I wear this hoodie at work. I wear a hoodie like at my current, but I know when I'm in an interview, I'm gonna have to code switch a bit.
Mhm.
And I'll I don't know how, once again, I don't know how often white people may have to code switch, but me being black, and I know other ethnic, but me being black, I know I have to code switch, and I don't like that. I'm trying to eliminate code switching for that, but no, I don't think. If I think I was a different ethnicity, I think I would still code switch to a sense,
Mhm.
because it's once again you're trying to, like what you're saying. Why do you code switch from Cozy Room compared to She Gets It? Because you're trying to attract or persuade a certain audience of people.
Yeah.
You're trying to reach a different platform, I would say.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, about this, what would be the solution?
Whew.
Uh, I think when it comes to Black people in America, um, I think learning how to honor ourselves will help us, with this mindset of working twice as hard or being twice as good. Say learning to say no would help us ease this sometimes. Being willing to think about our health first. Just because you can do these things doesn't mean you need to do all 10 things today because such and such is counting on you. Um, Taking your PTO would help a lot of Black people when it comes to you feeling the impact of having to be twice as good. Spending your time with family, not talking on the phone when you go on vacation, you don't have your laptop in your hand. You're not worried about something being due on Monday. Setting boundaries with people in the workplace, boundaries with people in public, um, boundaries sometimes with your family, where, you know, some of my family that I grew up with, they might see the girl's hair out and say, when you go to comb your baby's hair? I feel like this mindset, especially when it comes to a lot of Caribbean families, is your hair is only presentable when it's straightened or it's pulled back. When you have your hair out, it's just like it's too much. And in a lot of places, I mean, UPS, what was that, like 4 years ago? They just made it okay for people to have their locks worn with their uniform. A lot of schools
There's a
still,
law in Texas just passed that I forget the name of the law that you can discriminate. Because don't forget, in the county I come, in the city I come from, well, the town I lived in Texas, Pearland, that was the school that the teachers colored in a boy's part in his head, like with a
mm,
black market, the white teachers to be exact. And I wasn't the same one, but just don't forget about the black boy that had dreads and he was wrestling that made him cut his hair.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it happens, but it's unique that when you talk about Caribbean culture, Black Caribbean culture, when they're still catching up,
Yeah.
because it's to the point like because it was the same thing in the Black culture. You got to straighten it, but once again, a lot of shout out to Chris Rockwell, good hair. Yeah, when he talked about that, like with the perming of the hair, all these different things, and like I love that you cut your hair and you letting it grow out. That is a big thing. Loving your natural hair,
Yeah.
and embracing our beauty standards,
Yeah.
our beauty standards
And
of what
I
we
felt like
naturally are.
I felt like I would be this contradiction of a mom to wash my hair, blow dry my hair, straighten my hair, and then feel like, okay, now we can go. When both of my girls have natural curly hair, well, that question is going to come up. Do we have to straighten our hair? Why do you have to straighten your hair? You know what I'm saying? And I just want them to grow up feeling comfortable as who they are instead of having to make yourself fit into these boxes of acceptance outside. Now, if they grow up and they want to straighten their hair, cool, but it's not something you have to do in order
Yeah.
to be ready. And
And I think that goes back to the very beginning of this when it was asked about my feelings about the being twice as good. I don't want to have to be twice as good.
yeah,
I want it to be a choice. If
yeah,
I choose to do better, if I choose to stay late, if I choose to do this, to take steps, and I'm getting compensated more for it or recognized more for it, that's what I want. I don't want to have to do twice as good to get the bare or the basic as everybody else.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's and the same thing with hair. I don't want to have to know like it's something like shave my beard, but I don't think anybody grow beard, but it is like it's so many different things that is just part of me that come out of me naturally. Like skin, I don't know, we could talk about skin bleaching. We don't have that some, but it's people that still you can do
Caribbean
it,
people. I have
you
family
know.
members that still do that.
But the thing is, some
Yeah,
of them feel like they have to do it to be recognized.
yeah,
What's a Pinky Doll here on TikTok?
yeah,
Look at the record. No matter what, she was skin whitening either naturally or through artificial intelligence to get to a point. Did she have to do it or was it a choice?
yeah.
Mm.
And even like the staying, this idea that you have to stay longer or you have to do this, or just because you were doing that, this expectation is just for you to be the only one that has to do that. I think Black people need to get to a point in America where those who assume we're going to do more because they're just used to you doing more, you show them the first three letters of the word assume and you go about your business.
But you know that it's not only the first three letters. You assume we make an ass out of you and me.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
what
I did overtime, but I'm not gonna do overtime every time. And um there's joy in saying no. There's peace in saying no. And no with no explanation is all you need sometimes.
I was my response how to make the change is to demand recognition, continue to advocate for self.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of this work on the main thing you have to do is advocate for yourself because a lot of this change can't come from you. It have to come from others.
Right.
But you gotta stand your bound, stand your ground,
Yeah.
stand up.
Yes. And that is it. That is episode 3.
Well, it has been an absolute pleasure, y'all. Shan, thank you. The folks who's listening right now and watching right now, thank you. As always, this is a pleasure. And we got a few more episodes, well, quite a few more episodes coming throughout this series. So we greatly urge you all to like, share, comment, and support. Make sure to check out She Gets It Pod on all platforms with Shan being the hardest working woman in podcasting. And make sure to check out Everythang Culture. That's an A, not an I. It's no I in Everythang Culture. All right. I'm country and I speak through it thoroughly. And anywhere you find us, from YouTube to Spotify to Good Pods to Podbean, I can keep going down the list. We are out there. Okay. And I'm going to end it on our mission statement, which come from the words of Dr. Martin King Jr. that he's preached that he believed that men hate each other because they fear each other. They fear each other because they don't know each other. They don't know each other because of segregation. And because of segregation, we have miscommunication. So as always, God bless. We appreciate y'all. Chop it up with y'all later. Peace.